Good evening, and thank you for joining us this evening. I am Kimberly Dinwiddie, Clackamas County's Public Information Officer. In the next hour, we will explain the latest information on what the county is doing to help you, your families, and your neighbors affected by the fires that have burned in Clackamas County for the past 2 weeks. We'll begin with a number of speakers, and we'll save at least the last 15 minutes at the end to answer your questions. We will answer as many questions as possible during this time. You can submit your questions by using Zoom's raise your hand feature or by Zoom chat or commenting in the Facebook live stream at www.facebook.com/Clackamas County. The Facebook live stream will be posted later as a video on both Facebook and on the Clackamas County YouTube channel. Let me begin by introducing Clackamas County Commissioner Chair Jim Bernard. Commissioner?
Thank you, Kimberly, and thank you for joining us tonight. Yesterday, the Commission toured some areas of the Dowdy and Riverside fire. The devastation is heartbreaking. However, there are signs of hope. Over 1,100 of our residents are still evacuated. We are continuing to work with our partners to carefully lift evacuation orders and bring you home. Over 50 homes were lost in these fires and 150 other buildings. Words cannot express how much our heart is going out to those who have lost everything. We are here to support you. I'd like to give you a preview of some of the things that we're working on to help you through this difficult time. We're having conversations with our county leadership about how to streamline permitting processes for reconstruction and temporary code modifications for temporary housing. The goal of these modifications is to ensure there is no delay as you rebuild. Yet we need to approach this with intention, and right now there are more questions than answers. Currently, we are working to partner with Washington County to provide us more permitting and building staff. We're also proactively going through the assessment of damaged properties and identifying permitting needs in advance. We'll share more of our plan as they develop in the coming days. Recovery from these fires will take years. Our community is resilient. We're wild and we're tough, and your county government will be there with you every step of the way. Thank you for your strength during these difficult times, and thank you for being here tonight. We hope you'll find this information helpful. And back to you, Kimberly.
Thank you, Commissioner. Nancy Bush is Clackamas County's Disaster Management Director. She has some new information on community resource centers. Nancy? Nancy, I think you're still muted. Thank you.
I'm sorry. All right, thank you. This is what happens when we're virtual. So thank you, everyone, and thank you for being here this evening. As Commissioner Bernard just said, we have about 50 families that have suffered a very terrible tragedy, and they've lost their homes. And we're here to help them as well as you. We want to hear from you and everyone that has been affected by the fires, and you need to tell us what you need from us. We are working with cities and other partners to get an initial sense of the damage, which will help us work with FEMA and to identify needed aid. Long-term damage assessment will continue for months, and we will keep you informed. FEMA representatives will be at Estacada City Hall and at the Moala School District Community Gym through Sunday to help residents register for FEMA assistance. And we're working to create a multi-resource center with FEMA as well. A community resource center is opening in Estacada, is operating at Estacada at the parking lot at Cazandero Inn. And the Red Cross is distributing cleaning and comfort kits at the reentry centers in Moala and Estacada. We're working on longer-term recovery issues. or working with the state to clarify regulations and safety guidelines for handling and disposing of debris. Please be careful and use caution as you are returning to your homes. To learn about help available from FEMA, go online to disasterassistance.gov. That is disasterassistance.gov. Clackamas County staff are also working closely with our state and federal and local partners to get resources to help you recover and rebuild. There are a lot of pieces to that process, including removing debris, financing, developing plans, and getting permits. If you have early questions about the permitting process, you can find information at the county's How to Apply for a Permit webpage, or you can reach out to staff at 503-742-4400. That's 503-742-4400. You can also visit our Clackamas County Wildfire page at clackamas.us/wildfires. Please continue to monitor local news and our county website for updates and directions from fire, law enforcement, and public health officials about wildfires and COVID-19. Thank you. Kimberly?
Thank you, Nancy. For an update on the fires burning in the county, let's begin with Clackamas Fire Division Chief Brian Stewart. Good evening, Chief Stewart.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you for having me this evening, and thank you everyone for joining us. Just a quick update from the Clackamas Fire Division. I just wanted to share that we are in the stations, we're in the communities. If you need us, you will see us there. You will see us out and about, and we're back to our normal operations in that regard. We are moving toward recovery, just as our partners in the county and cities. We're working collaboratively to assist everyone who's been affected during this disaster, to make sure that they have the support that they need today, tomorrow, and moving into the future, so they can feel not only get back into their homes, but feel secure while they're there. In terms of the fires, several are stabilized. We still have crews, or we do not, but ODF and the feds are still out working on the fires, and we're supporting them as they need us. And the Dowdy fire in particular has been under investigation, and that will be wrapping up here as they focus on following up on leads. And the lead investigating agency is actually the Bureau of Land Management. They have the certified wildland investigator out of Spokane down here to help us. The Clackamas Fire family, the firefighters and our families, and certainly the fire departments across the region that were participating in the fires, appreciate all the support that's been provided to us. And we want to make sure that we are also there for you, and your citizens have been there for you during the fires, and also through financial support. If you are looking for additional support, in addition to the resources that were provided on the county webpage, you may also visit clackamasfire.com. And on clackamasfire.com, in the center, about midway down the page, you'll see a link for wildfire relief. That'll take you to the place where you can either request funds or donate to the Clackamas Emergency Services Foundation. We have approximately $50,000 that we're looking to get out to the community, so we can get people back up and comfortable to the extent that we can. With that, I'll go back to you, Kimberly. Thank you.
Thank you. So next we have Alan Sinclair, who heads up the National Incident Management Team fighting the Riverside fire. Alan?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Alan Sinclair with Southwest Area Team 1. Looks like the video might be frozen. Sorry about that. But I want to give you an update on where we're at. We're currently at 138,029 acres, 34% containment, 654 personnel assigned to the fire. So the weather's been helping us out a bit. What crews are now dealing with is doing work in areas with fire weakened trees, and the fire is still smoldering. So there's a lot of hazards out there that they're dealing with, but they're still focused on ensuring that the fire is getting the attention it needs. The lines on the west side of the fire around all the communities from Malala, Colton up to Estacada, those lines are very solid. We're very confident that the communities are going to be protected. The other thing I want to tell everybody is that it has been a pleasure working with everyone. We're on day 14, so our team will be heading home. But you know, from the beginning, the partnership with the Oregon State Fire Marshal's office and all the resources that were involved in the initial 72 hours of this fire before we got here, and transitioning to working with us has been appreciated. The county folks have been wonderful. Clackamas County Sheriff's Department has been a great partner. Want to give them a special recognition. And what I'd also like to do is let you know that we are transitioning with Pacific Northwest Team number 3. And I would like to introduce you to Noel Livingston.
Good afternoon, folks. I'll take off my mask here. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this evening. As Alan mentioned, we are a Pacific Northwest team. We've been actually on the other side of the crest for the last 3 weeks or so. Took a few days off and now are over on the west side to help you out. So we're happy to be here. Alan's team has done an outstanding job with a transition for us so that we can pick up where he's left off. A lot of fabulous work that's been done on this side of the hill. And we look forward to continuing to serve you, to provide information to you as we proceed, to answer any questions that you may have, and to be here for you as this suppression and then recovery effort proceeds. So happy to be here, and we'll be on as we proceed into the week. So thank you.
Thank you, Alan and Noel. It's nice to meet you. What's next is Kerry McCullen, who is one of the other national teams that have come down here to Clackamas County to help us with these fires. Kerry?
Hi there, Kimberly, and thank you so much for having me tonight. I really appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to give you an update. I am the Public Information Officer, as Kimberly said, with Clackamas County Fire's Incident Management Team. We are currently actively working the Dowdy, Unger, Wilhoit, and Graves Creek fires, and also providing initial attack support for the North Cascade District for any new fire starts that may occur. We have had a really great week, and all of the fires are shaping up very nicely. Just to give you a quick rundown, the Wilhoit fire is maintaining at 532 acres and is 64% contained. The Dowdy fire is 1,509 acres, and I'm pleased to announce that it is 100% contained. The Unger fire is 497 acres and is also 100% contained. And the Graves Creek fire is 46 acres and is also 100% contained, as has been for the week. The crews have been out working today. They've been working on strengthening those fire lines, taking care of any smoldering areas that are within that 150 feet of the fire imprint for each of the fires. They've also been working to repair those fire lines as well. So if there are any pushed up berms or areas where dozers have gone through and pushed up the soil, perhaps there would be some smoldering within the organic soils within that berm. And so they're working to rehabilitate the lines as well, knock those areas back down and prevent any flare-ups or smoldering from occurring. Another thing, you all know that we had a cold front push through yesterday afternoon. It brought quite a bit of wind and rain in certain areas, and our crews are also out today on the fire lines, ensuring that no trees were down in the process of all the wind, and also to check and make sure that there are no debris flows or mud flows that may have occurred around the fire perimeter, which can be the case due to the topography of the area and the type of soils you have. So we're kind of working full circle and ensuring that these fire perimeters are taken care of. And that's what we plan to continue to do throughout the week and the weekend, just ensure that these areas are well established, well secured fire lines. Currently, we have 182 personnel on all 3 fires. I say 3 because Graves Creek has maintained its 100% containment status throughout the week, and so it's just essentially on patrol status. As well will be the Dowdy and Unger for the rest of the time period. We do have crews that were able to get actively working back on the Will Hoyt fire to further work on their containment lines as well. As I announced earlier, it's about 64% contained for Will Hoyt, so that one will require a little bit more work to become fully contained. That's all I have for right now. Back to you, Kimberly.
Thanks, Kerry. That is great news on the 100% containment of those 2 fires. And we want to thank, again, all the firefighters from Clackamas County and all over the nation who've risked their lives to help us. So let's now turn from the fires, and many people have questions about assistance. And we have with us today Greg OReilly from FEMA. Greg, what can you tell people about applying for FEMA aid?
Sure. Well, thank you, Kimberly, and good evening. Thank you, Commissioner Bernard, and for those encouraging words. And Nancy, thank you for helping to do my job. I'm Greg OReilly, a FEMA External Affairs Intergovernmental Affairs Specialist. FEMA is grateful to our county partners for organizing this community meeting. FEMA is making positive progress together with our partners throughout the state and in Clackamas County to serve the people of Oregon. We're focused on our mission to provide federal support at the state and local levels to help the residents of Oregon to recover from the damage caused by the wildfires. While the COVID environment and COVID guidelines present a certain set of challenges, I assure you it is not hindering FEMA's ability to execute its mission to help Oregon in the recovery process. FEMA is currently assisting both virtually as well as FEMA's traditional proactive boots on the ground approach. You will be seeing more of us in the days to come. As of this morning, FEMA has nearly 300 personnel deployed in person and virtually. Our federal support and individual assistance blitz campaign is underway to encourage survivors to apply for FEMA assistance, to stay informed, and to be safe. FEMA is using innovative, unusual, as well as traditional methods to reach all wildfire survivors. FEMA's state, local, tribal, private sector, and academic partners are sharing information to amplify FEMA's disaster assistance messages with their audiences. We encourage all those impacted by this disaster to register with FEMA, to be informed, and to stay safe. Websites have already been shared. Our FEMA Disaster Survivors Assistance Teams, also known as DSA teams. DSA specialists began work in disaster declared counties, engaging directly with survivors to help them understand available programs, answer questions, and apply for assistance. DSA crews are conducting targeted virtual outreach and distributing disaster information to non-congregate shelters, faith community-based organizations, and private sector in designated counties. FEMA DSA crews are providing registration intake at designated interim sites. And as Nancy mentioned, operations leads are currently coordinating with county emergency managers and DSA to identify and establish these very important multi-agency resource centers. Remember, FEMA is a short, mid, and long-term partner. This is not a sprint, it is a marathon, and FEMA is committed to the citizens of Clackamas County for the long haul. Back to you, Kimberly.
Thank you, Greg. We really appreciate that you guys are here and for all your support and continued collaboration. So let's turn to cleanup. Evan Polk is a sustainability supervisor in Clackamas County's Transportation and Development Division. Evan?
Hi, Kimberly, thanks. Can you hear me? So As Kimberly said, my name is Evan Polk, and I want to share some precautions and tips concerning your safety and health, and potentially hazardous debris and ash to prepare you as you return home. Our state's Department of Environmental Quality recommends that you do not disturb ash or debris on your property until after it has been assessed by hazardous materials response professionals. Asbestos fibers, toxic chemicals, and electrical or structural hazards could be part of your fire damaged property or the surrounding area. So please consider ash and debris from structures and your possessions, if burned, to be hazardous and contaminated. Please handle those things with caution. You can inhale smoke and ash when you sweep it, vacuum it, or scoop it up, and that could cause lung or heart problems. So please don't use a vacuum to clean up ash unless it has a high efficiency HEPA filter. Please do not use leaf blowers to clean up ash because they also create more airborne particles. We ask that you help protect our water quality by making sure that any water you use for cleaning up ash does not flow into the stormwater system or into our surface waters. Let's talk a little bit about cleaning up burned structures and personal property. So we're working with DEQ, the Department of Environmental Quality, to establish clear guidelines for handling structural debris and its disposal. And we will be updating our website with the most current guidelines available as those evolve. Currently, no local transfer station can accept fire damaged structural debris. We can share that Waste Management's Hillsborough landfill has released some standards for disposal of fire debris, including debris that may contain asbestos, and we will share information about accessing their guidelines on our website. In the meantime, if you're working with a contractor, you can have your contractor check with transfer stations and landfills convenient to you before anything gets removed and disposed of to make sure you're following the landfill's acceptance standards. When you're able to go home and begin cleaning, please wear protective clothing, such as a long-sleeved shirt, goggles, long pants, heavy-duty work gloves, a KN95 mask. Cloth face coverings do not provide enough protection from ash and particulate matter. Please wear sturdy, thick-soled shoes. We also really recommend that you keep children away from areas where they might breathe airborne particles or ash left from fires. And last but not least, we encourage you to contact your insurance company to ask about the best way to contract with a professional asbestos removal company, since a lot of ash and debris may contain asbestos. And you also want to ask them about any other insurance requirements involved with cleaning up on your property. I know that's a lot of information. We have posted this information on the Clackamas County website, and you can visit our Wildfires page and scroll down to the bottom and click on the Returning Home link for more details and up-to-date information. Thank you. Kimberly?
Thank you, Evan. We can't forget that COVID-19 is still here and we're still in the midst of a pandemic. And, you know, we could still experience air quality issues with the fires burning nearby. So Philip Mason Joyner, the director of Clackamas County's Public Health Division, is here to remind us on how to stay safe. Philip?
Thanks, Kimberly, and good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's safe. Tonight, yes, I've been asked to share a little bit of information about the health impacts in our region from the wildfires, along with the critical need for all of us to continue to be diligent as we address COVID-19 in the community. The pandemic is certainly not over. In fact, it is very real, and there is community spread here in Clackamas County. Yesterday, the Oregon Health Authority reported that we have 318 new cases statewide, and we had 31 new cases in Clackamas County. We are seeing an uptick in cases that we're concerned about, and we're monitoring really closely. The public health guidance, it still hasn't changed, and I want to reinforce the key actions that we're asking the whole community to take. Don't touch your face, Wash your hands often with soap and warm water, and if that's unavailable, then use hand sanitizer. Wear a face covering at all times when spending time outside of your home and with people that are not within your household, and keep your social circle small. We also want to encourage people to continue practicing physical distancing to the greatest extent possible. Specifically related to the wildfires, at Clackamas County Public Health, we did reach out to all individuals that were isolating or quarantining due to COVID-19 within the evacuation areas. If you haven't yet gotten back to us, we really want to encourage you to please call us so that we can provide you with additional guidance. We can make sure that you have the supports that you need in order to stay safe. And you can reach us at 503-655-8411. Over the course of the wildfires, we saw really hazardous and unhealthy air quality across the region. We continue to monitor hospital admission data, emergency department visits, and other health impacts that intersect between wildfire symptoms, air quality symptoms, COVID-19, and are working closely with our regional, state, and hospital partners to address those concerns. For some really good positive news, we did hear today from the Oregon Department of Education that they paused some of the requirements for allowing schools to provide in-person instruction initially for kindergarten to third graders. This is a really encouraging step, and we're working really closely with our local schools to prepare to reopen schools safely. Please know that as the pandemic continues, we're working really hard here at Clackamas County to ensure that we have health, safe, and vibrant communities. And please do everything that you can to continue to protect yourself and each other. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Philip. So tonight, before we answer your questions, our Disaster Management Director, Nancy Bush, has a few final comments.
Thank you, Kimberly. Yes, I'd just like to remind everyone of the community resource centers that will be open through Sunday at Estacada City Hall in the Moala River School District Community Gym. And we are planning another multi-agency resource center with FEMA for the next week, which will also include participants from the county, the state, and from FEMA. You can also go to www.disasterassistance.gov to apply for federal assistance. If you haven't already, please sign up for public alerts to keep up with the changing situation. Follow the prompts from the Clackamas County webpage, which is clackamas.us. And I want to clarify that we just learned there is information posted on other sites about texting your zip code to a 5-digit number. This does not work in the Portland metro area. Again, you need to sign up via our Clackamas County webpage or Facebook page. And so you can receive the alerts not only for this disaster, but for future disasters. I also want to thank everyone in our communities that has helped us. This has truly been a community effort, and we know that we could not have done this without everyone pulling together, and we want to thank everyone for that. We know we shared a lot of information with you tonight, and we'll be taking your questions here in a moment. But thank you, everyone, again, our responders, residents, volunteers, businesses, everyone that has donated so much. And thank you for coming together and helping us. Please stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. So if you're following us on Zoom, in the chat, Greg with FEMA put in some websites on and other ways to register for FEMA aid. And for those of you joining us on Facebook, we'll make sure that we get that information posted in the comments, and it's also available on our website at clackamas.us. And we also have some other resources for you. This is a very stressful and trying time, and there's a lot of people experiencing trauma, and we have resources available to protect your mental health. And we have also put that in the in the chat, and it's also available at clackamas.us. So now let's get to your questions. If you are joining us on Zoom, you can use the raise your hand function at the bottom of your screen to raise your hand, and we will take your comments. You can also provide them in the chat, as well as provide them through Facebook, and those will get to me as well. So we look forward to hearing from you, and our panelists will do the best to answer your questions. So again, just use the raise your hand function on Zoom. And I believe you can also hit *9 if you are joining us on the phone. I understand, Commissioner Bernard, do you have something you would like to share?
Yeah, it was noted in the chat that there were a lot of people out there who did not work for fire districts, who really helped their neighbors fight back the fire. And we need to thank those people too. I know a number of people who had 40 neighbors fighting to protect their house. Of course, that's what we have professionals doing to do, and we're glad nobody was injured doing that, fighting those fires. But those folks need a lot of thanks and gratitude for all the work they did. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We received a question online, and it relates to evacuation levels and where they currently are. And this is, I'm quoting, "Why in the world are we west of South Springwater Road still at level 3? There has been no fire for a week and the hotspots are out." Is there somebody who from the fire team who could perhaps help answer that question?
Hi, Kimberly. One of the other folks currently working on the fire may have a little bit more information, but evacuation levels are kind of determined in partnership in Sac County to make sure that people are safe. And certainly while and particularly the Dowdy fire, which is along the Springwater piece, and I didn't catch if that was towards the Riverside fire or the Dowdy, but I can speak to the Dowdy a little bit. The Dowdy fire is 100% contained, as Kerry shared earlier. But with that, we still have hazard trees. We still have crews working in the area, and it's still not necessarily a safe place for individuals to go about their daily routines. And so we want to make sure that they're aware that there are hazards, and that for their safety, the recommendation is still that they are not in that area.
All right, so again, as a reminder, if you're joining us by Zoom, you can ask your question by raising your hand. Use your raise your hand feature at the bottom of your Zoom bar. It doesn't look like we have any, looks like we have another question that came through online. Okay, what resources are available for students that are supposed to be taking classes online but don't have internet due to a loss of house or service? And is there anybody from the county who can answer that question? I know that we have Wi-Fi hotspots set up in certain areas. And so do you know off the top of your head, Nancy, where they're at? I know they're in nearby schools.
I do not know that. I know we have Mark McBride with us here today. He may know some of that, or Philip. If not, we can find it out and make sure it's posted on the pages.
We'll follow back up with you on social media, but I do know that we have this posted on our website somewhere. So thank you for the question, but we do have Wi-Fi hotspots in areas where students can go connect, as well as other people who need information or need to sign up for assistance and don't have that internet access. Looks like we have a question that came up in the chat that I'll read. And this is another fire question. The question in chat reads, there were reports that firefighters were in Estacada while locals were fighting the fires. Do you know why the scanners were offline as well? And is there a reason they couldn't help or offline?
Kimberly, I'll go ahead and try to tackle that one. Again, I'm more familiar with the Dowdy fire and the Estacada more associated with Riverside, but the instance that the individual with the question may be referring to may be associated in terms of the firefighters being in Estacada while locals were fighting fires, that portion of her question. Could have been associated with the tactical pause that firefighters took. I believe that was on the Thursday. And that again is associated with the fire behavior analysts and long-term analysts, meteorologists with the Beachy fire, anticipating and predicting that the Beachy fire, the column from that and the column from the Riverside fire were going to merge and kind of merge explosively into what's called a plume-driven fire, which would cause some erratic fire behavior and could shift the fire in any number of directions, cause spotting around the base of it, and just change it in an unpredictable manner. So the firefighters withdrew to their safety areas. We took the time to make sure that we had accountability for all of our personnel. We encouraged individuals that we saw, citizens along the way, to also leave the area because there was a hazard that we knew about or that was anticipated to occur. And we took the time to conduct that safety accountability piece as well as prepare to re-engage once those columns combined and once we knew what that fire behavior was going to be more like and how we could approach that to protect lives as our first priority, and then of course property. To the second question, do we know why the scanners were offline as well? I cannot answer that. That is the first time I've heard that question, so I don't have any background on that.
Okay, great. We received a few questions online. I'll take this one. The question is the evacuation map has not been updated since 8-something this morning. Do you know why? The evacuation map is updated anytime that there's a change to evacuation levels, and we haven't had really any changes. So that is why the evacuation map has not been updated. So thank you for that question. When there is a change to evacuation levels, we will update it. So we have another question from a community member. It reads, would school districts be able to help with hotspots? Not sure if a second grader would want to sit in a parent's vehicle all day near a community hotspot. So our hotspots locations are available on our website, which is at clackamas.us/cbx/hotspots. And we do have them available at the Boring Middle School and can be at a couple of elementary schools as well. Unfortunately, it looks like we are under COVID restrictions, so our website has information about how to do it safely, but we are partnering with schools on this.
Yeah, Kimberly, I would also add related to students having access to technology and the ability to learn during this challenging time. We've worked closely with all the schools, all the public and private schools. They are required by the Oregon Department of Education to have a comprehensive plan by how they assure equity in some of these challenges, such as limited access to technology. Each individual school has their own plan, and the Oregon Department of Education has compiled those, and those are accessible online for folks to review and look at. So that is available. We also have information on our Clackamas County coronavirus web pages as well.
It looks like we have a hand raised. Emily Higgins, are you able to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hi there. Hopefully you can hear me. This is actually Emily Higgins, KBTV photographer, but my name's Camilla Ortiz. I'm a reporter And I just had a couple questions. One, is there a better indication for timeline for people who are still evacuated because of the tree removal and that sort of thing? Is there any sort of indication how long that process could take along some of these fire lines? And then my second question has to do with the Clackamas Emergency Services Foundation. I know there's a certain amount of money there that could help people who lost homes. What does the process look like for people who want to apply for help with those funds?
So is there somebody who could answer the question about the timing for the tree removal and the other things that could get the level 3 evacuees that we talked about earlier back into their homes?
Yes, Kimberly, I'll speak to that just briefly. Ultimately, as Brian said, it is a collaborative effort to decide on evacuations and evacuation status. Ultimately, it's a decision based on the Sheriff's Department with input from other entities within, the areas that the fires are located, as well as our firefighter staff that are boots on the ground. For the most part, we're making updates as quickly as we can. But safety is the ultimate goal, both for our citizens as well as our firefighters. When the firefighters are out with the contract crews felling trees, it's obviously a very hazardous situation and condition, and we want to make sure that everyone is safe, that everyone is aware, and situational awareness is paramount at that point. So we do not take lifting evacuations very lightly. It's something that requires multiple entities making that decision, with ultimately the Sheriff's Department releasing that information. So stay tuned. Our folks are working as quickly and efficiently as possible to get you guys back in your homes.
Camilla, responding to the questions about relief, there are several assistant programs available for people, and that's available through FEMA, which is you could go to disasterassistance.gov as well as FEMA.gov. But also Clackamas Fire has a program available to help residents affected by this disaster, and you can go to their Clackamas Fire website for information on how to apply. Okay. We received another question through social. And let's see. Okay, with the change to the third rotation for the federal firefighters, the Riverside fire lead during yesterday's update said the number of firefighters would be reduced. How many before? And how many for replacement, and why? So I was hoping if anybody, oh, there we go. Thank you, Alan. Let me know if you'd like me to repeat the question. Okay, the question is with the change to the third rotation for federal fires, the Riverside fire lead during yesterday's update said that with the number of firefighters would be reduced. So how many firefighters were there before, and how many for replacement, and why?
Yeah, so you can look on NCWeb to see what the numbers were each day. I think at the top we had about 720 firefighters, give or take, and we're at 654 now. That's crews timing out, kind of like our team. We've done 2 weeks. We're heading home. We order resources based on needs, and right now the work has been done to really get the line secured around the populated areas. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of area. We've got 2 big fires to the south of us, and a lot of line out there, hundreds of miles of line that would need to be have people work it if we were going to put people out there. And right now, nationally, we're in a situation where there's a lot of fires and not a lot of firefighters who are really putting the effort and prioritizing it. And we've got what we need to hold what we've got and continue putting the containment lines in place where we're going to put them.
Great, thank you. We have a comment from social that I'd like to share. It says, I'm especially thankful for our professional firefighters, including Clackamas Fire, ODF, and Portland Fire and other sharing districts. So thank you, firefighters. And thank you for that comment. I want to take a reminder on the evacuation map. We've seen some comments there on how to, and the question is how do I figure out if my evacuation levels have changed? Because there's a time difference between when the map's updated and when people receive a call or a text. So the evacuations map at clackamas.us/wildfires is a tool to support and to help people visualize where these evacuation orders are happening. The official way to get notified about evacuation orders are from using public alerts. So thank you to everybody who signed up for public alerts to receive a phone call and a text message, and for opting in. You know, when these events were starting and the evacuation levels were high 2 weeks ago, you know, we were really hitting those phone calls hard and those text alerts hard. And so again, thank you to everybody who's following those orders. Again, the evacuation level map is just a way to visualize that information, but the official way to get it is through publicalerts.com.
I would like to add to that just a little bit because I was reading the comment. I just want to make sure everyone knows if the levels were to go up again, like if you were going from a 2 to a 3, please be aware we get that message out immediately through public alerts and the map will catch it later. It's life safety. And when we are going into a level 3 or a level 2, please know that we don't we don't mess around and go, oh, okay, we have to do the map. We actually get it out immediately.
Thank you for that, Nancy. We have just a few more minutes, and let's see if we have any more questions online. And as well, if you can, if you're interested in asking your question by Zoom, you can do so by using the raise your hand function on Zoom for that. But we'll give it just another minute or so. If somebody is madly typing their question into the chat, we appreciate you guys using that feature. It really helps us out. And for all of you who've also used Facebook to comment, thank you so much. And we think we've answered most of your questions tonight. And I think that we'll just give it another second or two for more questions. Okay, seeing none. And check one more time for hands. Okay, no hands. So I want to thank everybody for participating this evening, and to those of you in the community who've given up time to ask your very, very good questions. We're grateful for you. We're grateful for everything that you're doing to help this community rebuild. It can't be done without you and your support, and for you guys telling us what you need and where we can do better. We're open to that feedback, so thank you so much. We will be announcing soon where another community resource center will be popping up early next week, and provide more details with that. And so that should be one of the next things you guys have heard for us. So if you please connect with us by following us on social media. And if you have questions about wildfires and COVID-19, you can contact our Public Inquiry Center Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. They're available at the number on your screen. So again, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we will be in touch with more information soon.